welcome back to Frankie's Forest. In today's video, I'll be showing you guys the 10 benefits of owning a greenhouse in your own property. So let's get started. Alright guys, so let's start with the first benefit, and that is humidity. Now in this greenhouse, I have two gauges. One of them is humidity, so let's talk about that first. Humidity is pretty much an essential part to growing plants. A lot of plants such as succulents and hydrangeas really love humidity. It helps them grow a lot. It helps their leaves be much healthier. It helps them grow much stronger actually. So now let's move on to the second point, and that is temperature. I also have a temperature gauge in this greenhouse. As you can see, the temperature inside the greenhouse is 70 degrees. Outside, it is 54 degrees. Now, it would be much warmer. However, I do have the windows open as well as the door fully open. So if I didn't have all those open, it would probably be about 80 degrees in this greenhouse, which is really excellent. So next, let's move on to natural elements. So all these plants in this greenhouse could easily be affected by natural elements such as snow, hail, frost, heavy rain, heavy winds, especially more gentle plants such as rosemary and beans. Hydrangeas are pretty sturdy, but they definitely could get very shocked by an unforeseen snow. So another excellent thing about having a greenhouse is that you can control how much water you give your plants. For example, my succulents. If these succulents were outside, which is not very common where I live, they would have a lot of rain come down on them. They would have a lot of, for example, if there was snow, they could get severely affected by snow, the natural elements. And so by having a greenhouse, you can have a lot of plants in here that normally would get affected by the natural elements, but now that they're in the greenhouse, you don't have to worry about it getting affected by the natural elements such as snow, heavy rain, or things that are common in the spring through summer. Even very harsh sun in the summer. Greenhouses also attract more sun. They're designed this way, whatever amount of sun hits them, they totally absorb that. This way the plants can get the most out of every second of sun during the day. And that can help out a lot of plants, especially when there's shade that's casted among a lot of plants by bushes or trees. For example, hydrangeas and cacti, succulents, peas, rosemary, they all like a nice, really good amount of sun. And so by having a greenhouse, any sun that is out through the day, the greenhouse can attract, because of all the four corners of this greenhouse, it can attract sun wherever it is, even if it's behind these bushes that are bordering our property. The sun can still come on through the roof, which it normally wouldn't be if we had plants on the floor here. Greenhouses also have the perfect environment for starting seeds. For example, here I have green bell peppers, echinacea, cubanelle peppers, as well as some poppies. Now, these seeds take a while to start, but these seeds immediately shot up after just about a week after planting them in the greenhouse. Now, this is because, even as we mentioned before, the humidity, the temperature, all of the sun that this gets, these seeds come up in no time. Because of a lot of factors such as humidity, temperature, and sun, it boosts the growth of a lot of plants. Let's take my hydrangea, for example. I got my hydrangea when it was about the size of this weed. And now, it's almost a foot tall. After 2 weeks of being in this pot, being in this greenhouse, after 2 weeks, a hydrangea has grown a foot, which I think is pretty impressive, especially for a little baby, not even one that has even been around a winter. This is its first year actually living. And then as you can see, guys, inside of this pot, there's another hydrangea growing off of this branch. So in the weeks coming, I'll update you on this hydrangea just so you can see how fast it actually grows. Even with my Christ plant here, also known as the crown of thorns cacti. Before this, for about a year, it had no growth at all, only some flowers coming out, which that is what some cacti do when they're approaching the end of their life. They just want to get some pollen out there so they have some chance of reproducing their seeds. However, when I put it in this greenhouse, it immediately started producing all of this new growth. You even see it in yesterday's video, all of this growth. I actually show it and explain that once it got in the greenhouse, it just got so much growth, and it's looking so healthy now. These leaves are looking healthier than it did when I just planted it. Even this plant right here, I don't know exactly what it is. I mentioned this in yesterday's video as well. It might be some type of unwanted weed. However, it has grown tremendously in these past weeks, which I'm pretty excited about to see what it actually is. Alright, let's move on to the next factor. So if you live in an environment where there is winter with snow and fall where it gets much colder, then you'll definitely know about bringing a lot of your plants that you worked hard on indoors. However, we've noticed that once bringing plants indoors, we've noticed that there are a ton of little gnats and whiteflies that just come out of the soil, and even after replanting them, they just somehow pop up. So having a greenhouse gives you plenty of room to put all of those plants that you want to keep indoors over the winter. And like we mentioned before, it stays humid even in the winter because any bit of sun that it gets, it absorbs and turns it into heat and humidity. And you might live in an area where there are a lot of pests. That doesn't just mean bugs and insects, but it also means rodents, whether they are rabbits or chipmunks, squirrels, groundhogs. You might even have deer. All of those can eat your plants. Even if they're deer or rabbit resistant, there is going to be some type of animal that'll still eat it. And we've experienced that the hard way, unfortunately, in our outdoor garden. So bringing your plants into the greenhouse, where they have a chance to kind of recover from being eaten, is an excellent thing to have because it doesn't take long at all. And like we just mentioned, it boosts their growth very quickly. This way, once they go outside, they might be able to resist being eaten, even if it's a large amount, because they'll have that boost of energy. This way they can shoot out new growth very quickly. Alright, now we're going to talk about pricing, but let's go inside first. Alright guys, so now for the last factor of the video of how beneficial greenhouses actually are. So now let's look up greenhouses in Amazon. And let's just see what comes up. So let's go to some more affordable ones. So here's one right here. And as you can see, this is similar to the one I have. It only has 6 shelves though. But as you can see, this price is $67.99. And let's look through these pictures a bit. So as you can see, 6 shelves, very roomy. It has the same kind of roll-up door that my greenhouse has. Alright, as you can see, here are some facts about the material. So that's always good. When I was getting my greenhouse, this is one thing I was really looking for, that the plastic didn't oxidize, because if the plastic oxidizes, then it looks really ugly. Alright, let's see what else there is. Here's a smaller one right here, if you guys are interested in a smaller one that you can't walk into. And here's the one that I have. $99.99 for 2 windows, 4 stakes for extra stability. And let's look through to see what else there. So here we see that there's mesh windows. So this is the one I have. It's $100 and it's held up extremely well. We had 30-mile-an-hour winds a couple days ago, and it actually held up incredibly. And we even forgot to put the pegs into the ground, which I think is awesome that it actually held up. As you can see, it suggests putting stones, but instead of doing that, I kind of folded it under as it shows here. This way I can prevent any rodents or bugs from getting in that I don't want. Here are some of the dimensions. So it's 76 by 55 by 56. Those are the main dimensions. And here it is here with some plants in it. So what I'm thinking about doing for mine, as you can see here, is actually putting some type of plastic flooring on it, like some plastic tiles that are pretty cheap that you can just get off of Amazon. So that's what I'm thinking of doing, because the grass growing insanely is kind of getting me annoyed. Now let's look at some other ones. Here's another one right here. This one is really nice as well. It's just clear plastic with six shelves. And as you can see, here's one of the ones I was actually considering to get. It has, it actually has 6 very, very large shelves. Plenty of room on the floor. As you see, they have a palm tree there with the same kind of door that I have, no windows. But that's okay. I always suggest if you're going to get a greenhouse, have some type of way that you can open it without having to open the whole entire door when you want to get some fresh air inside your greenhouse. And yes, it does say that it is steel bars, and it is true, it's not plastic. I know one of the greenhouses that we were looking at said steel, but it was actually plastic. Here's another really nice one. It's very, very large, actually. A lot of shelves, no windows though, but this is a really nice one, actually. A ton of space, it looks like. Let's see how tall this one is. This is 77 inches, an inch taller than the one I have, 84 by 56. Much larger than the one that I have. Alright guys, so as you can see, greenhouses can be very affordable, and there's a lot of benefits to having them. So if you enjoyed this video, please remember to share it with any friends or family who you think will enjoy this. And if you like seeing these kind of videos where I talk about my greenhouse, orchids, succulents, and other plants, please remember to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, this way you don't miss any videos. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.